From the banks of the Allegheny, welcome to Film Bits. Hey everybody, True Detective, Season 1, Episode 1, Part 2. We left off with Marty talking about his philosophies on different kinds of cops in relation to his partner Rust. Let's dive right the heck back in there.
A lot of it had to do with how they manage authority. There can be a burden in authority, in vigilance, like a father's burden. It's too much for some men.
Notice how Marty is doing the kind of nuts and bolts stuff,
steady is hard to find.
while Rust
I was all right,
is
better than some,
working
but
very closely,
I knew
observing.
how to talk to people, and I was steady. Rust. Now his Texas files were classified or redacted, and he wasn't big on talking, except when you wanted him to shut up. But he was smart.
And that's a great use of the camera to match the voiceover.
Yeah. Second week we were together.
Marty
I
being
saw
steady,
where he was
Russ
living.
being smart.
Kind of made me feel for the guy.
Let's go to Russ Cole's apartment. Okay, first thing right here is that latch that's askew, right?
I'd offer you a seat, but
Don't mention it. I can't stay. Yeah, I tell you guys, and believe me, past a certain.
So, a surrounding will tell you a lot about a character. Bare bones. We've got the Office Depot lamp there on the left side of the screen. All white. Everything is white. Rust has a little bit of a cushion there that he sleeps on. Some boxes that he has never unpacked. He's been here a few months already. And one of the few things that isn't white on the right 2/3 of the screen is that crucifix above his bed. Let's keep going. I've seen a few shots of this structure.
We'd encountered a metapsychotic.
One on the ground, one hanging from the
We
tree.
tried to explain to Marty what metapsychotic was.
A metapsychotic.
This is gonna happen again. Or it's happened before. Both.
Go.
It's fantasy enactment. Ritual. Fetishization, iconography. This is his vision. Her body is a paraphilic love map.
How's that?
An attachment of physical lust to fantasies and practices forbidden by society.
You get that from one of your books?
I did. Her knees are abraded, rug burns on her back, cold sores, gumline recession, bad teeth. There's decent odds she was a prost. He might not have known her, but this idea goes way back with him.
You got a chapter in one of those books on jumping to conclusions?
All right, so talking about shot usage here. Before we were in a close-up, a medium close, and now we're in a medium shot. In this particular shot that are frozen on, we see that dangling triangular thing over Marty's right shoulder. Remember, the idea of the use of these shots gives us some of the scope of where we are as far as surroundings, but keeps us close enough to view the emotional reactions of these characters. The archetypes here of the buddy film, even though Marty and Rust aren't necessarily buddies, and this odd couple matching, are tried and true. There's nothing being innovative here. It's the performances of the design of these two characters that really make this relationship, these two protagonists, the story of these two men as we start to see it unfold, really, really powerful.
You attach an assumption to a piece of evidence. You start to bend the narrative to support it. prejudice yourself.
Wait and see on the ID.
All right.
This kind of thing does not happen in a vacuum.
This is also great blocking. Russ knows what he's talking about. Marty's trying to be a good cop. Russ turns, and they literally now and figuratively are not seeing eye to eye. They were both looking at Dora Lang. As soon as Marty says, hey, you might be jumping to some conclusions here, Russ says, all right, cornpone, and then turns another way, keeps talking, but they're now not seeing eye to eye in both the literal and the figurative, and it's really well done with a simple little movement.
I guarantee this wasn't his first. It's too specific.
Listen, this is a stupid time to...
And now we're going to shift to seeing eye to eye again as Marty brings up something completely different from the revelations that Rust is giving him about this serial killer that they've now stumbled upon. Marty's going to bring up an interesting topic.
Mention this, but you gotta come to dinner. Can't put Maggie off anymore, so you just gotta.
All right.
Gordon, thanks for coming.
Marty?
Anyway, that evening, it wasn't even sundown. He decided it was a good time to invite me over for dinner, which I got a problem with. Because I'm thinking about Marty's wife and his 2 kids, and how it's my daughter's birthday, and I know there's nothing I can do about it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I'm gonna have a drink.
Let me get up. You're gonna meet him. I gotta get the door. Hey.
People out here, it's like they don't even know the outside world exists. Might as well be living on the fucking moon.
Listen to Russ' dialogue throughout this series.
It's all one ghetto, man. Giant gutter in outer space.
Today, that scene, that is the most fucked up thing I ever caught. Ask you something. You're Christian, yeah?
No.
What do you got the cross for in your apartment?
It's a form of meditation.
How's that?
I contemplate the moment in the garden. The idea of allowing your own crucifixion.
But you're not a Christian, so what do you believe?
Okay, so we can see how this is the beginning of this relationship, and it's just not going well. Marty's a pretty straightforward, blue-collar, let's get the job done guy, and Rust isn't. He's got some definite thoughts that are out there. He contemplates allowing yourself to be crucified. He's talking about the type of murder they are that he had to explain to Marty. And this is one of the great aspects of editing in this show and this time travel back and forth. It was his daughter's birthday. He's going to meet Marty and Marty's kids. He knows he's got to have a drink. Why? And he shows up to Marty's place completely hammered, holding those flowers. And now we see that silhouetted form from a few minutes ago in the car, getting out, moving towards a house, stumbly, was Rust, and he is drunk. But why? And then we look at how Rust is in modern day compared to how Rust was when this murder took place, and the changes in his physical appearance and his character. What has gone on in those intervening years? All of these really interesting questions being brought up within the first, 15 minutes of this episode. So we have all these we have all these questions. We're watching this relationship, this already dysfunctional relationship develop. So much going on, and we've just scratched the surface of the show.
I believe that people shouldn't talk about this type of shit at work.
Hold on. 3 months we've been together. I get nothing from you. Today, what we're into now, do me a courtesy, okay? I'm not trying to convert you.
Look, I'd consider myself a realist, all right? But in philosophical terms, I'm what's called a pessimist.
Okay, what's that mean?
Means I'm bad at parties.
Let me tell you, you ain't great outside of parties either.
I think human consciousness was a tragic misstep in evolution. We became too self-aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself. We are creatures that should not exist by natural law.
Well, that sounds god-fucking awful, Rust.
We are things that labor under the illusion of having a self, this accretion of sensory experience and feeling, programmed with total assurance that we are each somebody, when in fact everybody's nobody.
I wouldn't go around spouting that shit I was you. People around here don't think that way. I don't think that way.
I think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
So, what's the point of getting out of bed in the morning?
I tell myself I bear witness. The real answer is that it's obviously my programming. And I lack the constitution for suicide.
My luck, I picked today to get to know you. 3 months, I don't hear a word from you, and...
You asked.
Yeah, and now I'm begging you to shut the fuck up.
I get a bad taste in my mouth out here. Aluminum. Ash. Like you can smell the psychosphere.
I got an idea. Let's make the car a place of silent reflection from now on. Okay?
And that's where we'll stop today. One of many great dialogues between Rust and Hart. So many more to come. I appreciate the time you've given me. We could break this down. Stop. Go back and watch and maybe re-listen to some of Rust's dialogue there. It is out there, but if you listen to it a few times, you get what he's saying. He says he's a pessimist, and he is a pessimist all the way to the hilt as he talks about the human race just essentially mass-offing itself because they're no good. This is what motivates this character's actions, this philosophy. And Marty is just a guy who wants to put in his years, get his pension, take care of his family. Quite an odd couple. We'll see you next time for part 3 of episode 1, True Detective Season 1. Thanks for any and all time you have given me. Take care.